Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, where we meet at the intersection of reality, TV, and therapy. I am Margee McGee, and with me, as always, is my dear friend and co-host.
Hi, everyone. I am Ramona Ramirez. Margee, it's so good, as always, to see you. I know I sound like a broken record, but you know what?
It's true.
Maybe it's not a broken record. Maybe it's just that it's a track on Apple Music that I hit repeat on, and
I
it just
love
happens
it.
to play every time we intro this show.
But now that
So,
you brought my attention to it, the day that it doesn't happen, I'm going to be like, what's wrong? Are we not friends anymore?
oh
Why
my
aren't you
God,
happy to see
totally.
me? Why am I not a ray of sunshine?
Which would be exactly what an adult child and
A
alcoholic would do.
100%.
Uh, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about this shirt. Is it the Celine Paris shirt that Kyle was wearing last week? No. I Googled that shirt, Margee. Guess how much it was?
900.
No, but it was close. It was like $670.
Ooh.
If you could find that one. The other ones, like the other Celine t-shirts, like anywhere between like $540 and $700. $700.
That's amazing.
Anyway, so, but yes, these are my favorite t-shirts in the entire world to vintage shop for or new shop for if I can find a good reproduction. But anyway, Kyle reminded me I wanted to pull out my own shirt.
I love it.
Do you have time for a quick story?
Yes,
Do we have time
please.
for? Okay.
God,
okay.
please.
So my kid turns 8 tomorrow, and every year at his birthday, he gets sick. And like every year, like I'm thinking back to last year, the year before, I remember when he turned from 2 to 3, I was going to give up breastfeeding at 2 years. I was like, okay, I'm done. I did a real good job doing this. We're done. And I remember we took him to Golden Gate Park and we did these little paddle boats, and he just was he was just not stoked to be there. And he was just really just not having a good time. And he felt warm. We got home. He had a fever. It's his birthday. So I kept breastfeeding for a little while longer just to like get him over that because I knew it would help. And then so yesterday, so all week he's been home with like a stuffy nose and a sore throat, runny nose and a sore throat. Yesterday, fever of 102 point something and just barfing and barfing and barfing, still barfing like as of, I don't know, an hour ago. Mm-hmm. And I can't help but think that this is related to how he came into the world. I know that sounds woo-woo.
It doesn't.
But
you have 8 years of proof.
Yeah, I get a little like my anxiety subconsciously, I think, comes up around this time. At this time 8 years ago, I'd been in labor for like 36 hours unmedicated, no food, no sleep, like I was drinking water, I think. So I was probably in like a bathtub at UCSF with like battery candles and my doula and just like trying not to, just like vomiting and laboring and just in like so much pain. And right before we made the decision or they made the decision that I was going to have a C-section, like his blood pressure was dropping and dropping and dropping. So I wonder if this is like trauma that's stuck in his body from it,
Yeah.
Because he was supposed to be, I don't really go by fucking due dates. I think that they're part of some sort of, I don't know. Again, that sounds woo-woo, but it's just like, you can't predict this shit. He was 2 weeks late. He was supposed to be born on the 16th or the 18th of January, and he didn't come out till the 2nd. And that was literally by brute fucking force.
That's really interesting. And I
don't know.
completely.
I just feel like it's got to be connected. There's so many books out there, like The Body Keeps the Score, My Grandmother's Hands. I just checked out one from the library that my therapist told me to check out about how trauma can like inform your adulthood. Like, no shit. But so we'll see. Anyway, so last night, this is before the barfing started. This is like only when we had the runny nose and the sore throat and the fever. The fever had started, but we hadn't gotten to the barf stage yet. So when Leo's sick, he likes to sleep in our bed. So he was getting settled in our bed. He wanted to go to bed at 8, which was like, hells yeah. So I hadn't done ketamine yet or I hadn't done ketamine at home yet since I did it in the office last week. So last night, my plan was do ketamine at home, fall asleep right after, get up early, watch the show on Peacock, sans commercials with the extra footage, take my notes, do the show. I knew he wasn't going to go to school today because he had a fever last night. So as I'm coming out of my ketamine trip, like as I'm coming out, like I don't know if I can really walk out of the bed yet, like I'm still, I don't feel the effects of it, but I'm still under the influence of the medication. I have my noise canceling headphones on and I'm listening to my ketamine playlist. And all of a sudden, like I notice that Leo has walked in.
Mm-hmm.
He's all, Mama, I think I'm going to barf. And I'm like, okay. So I jump out of bed and I'm just like, I feel like such a dick because I'm like laughing to myself because I'm on a psychedelic. Like I'm on the tail end still of a psychedelic. And all I can think about is this is fucking hilarious. I have done ketamine twice now at night with my whole family here where shit has gone off the fucking rails. One time was with vaginal ketamine suppositories. That is a whole other
I can't. The fact that that's even an option is
right.
just like, who decided that?
Well,
there's so many other holes and ways.
No, people put it up their butt. People put the suppositories up their butt. They also put them in their vagina because you get so nauseous on this medication if you don't take Zofran, which I do. I like live and die by the Zofran dissolvable tablet. But
it made an appearance in the episode tonight on Beverly Hills.
I heard that. I heard that. Yes, I was all yay Zofran. Hashtag better living through chemistry. Live it, learn it, love it. Learn it, live it, love it. Who fucking knows what order it goes in? So I tried vaginal suppositories because I'm not down with this nausea. Like I'm not fucking down with it. It makes me, I just can't. And every time I tried it, like I tried 2, they didn't do anything. I tried 4. I didn't think they were going to do anything. So I sat there waiting for the ketamine to kick in, and it never did. I took a hit of cannabis for the nausea. Now, cannabis can activate ketamine. So, 4 vaginal ketamine suppositories, 1 benign hit of cannabis, I was seasick on the edge of my bed for I don't know, 2 hours.
Oh my God.
I couldn't, all I wanted to do, like, so I'm like throwing up. I can't move even like an inch because moving even a little bit makes me want to vomit. All I want to do is reach for like my pen and my journal so I can start writing this down because it was as close to death's door as I felt, as like I have made a huge mistake as I felt. I still knew like this is fucking comedy gold. I got to write this shit down. I couldn't even turn like 3 inches to grab a pen and my journal. So I was like feeling around for it. My head is in my hand. My kid is like rubbing my back, bringing me water. Mama, I'm so sorry. I know what that's like. It's terrible. Because I think he had just gotten sick from his birthday or whatever. Yeah, I think the 4 vaginal ketamine suppositories was like a year ago.
What was the suggested dose? 1?
2.
Oh,
2
okay.
is always. But like
dose.
when I did it the first time and it didn't work, I thought, okay, like maybe my body chemistry is different. Maybe I need more, whatever. No, my body is like, bitch, do not do it because it's going to be sleeper ketamine. Something's going to happen. You're going to be like out of the house, get behind the wheel of the car to drive and be like, oh, fuck, what has happened to me? So no, I never used the rest of my prescription. But so last night I'm trying really hard to like manage my child vomiting in and out of a bowl, blankets, bed, the usual. Like I feel like whenever you give a kid a receptacle to throw up in, they are just going to say, you know what? Why don't I go ahead And instead, I'm going to barf on the intersection of this pillow over this blanket over the bottom sheet. So even though all three things only have like 1 to 2 inches of barf, they're all going to have to come off.
Washed,
the duvet cover has to come off. Like a duvet cover is a fucking torture unto itself, right?
It's so rude.
It's just the most rude fucking thing. And so, yeah, last night was some stuff. And then Leo was throwing up all night and I'm just a little tired. I'm a little tired. I'm a little loopy. The ketamine was great though. It always brings clarity. It always opens your heart to whatever is there, opens your mind to whatever is there. It casts like, yeah, it just brings like so much clarity. It's like it just Windexes everything and everything's super crystal clear. But you don't really have a lot of judgment around anything that you're getting clear on or that's coming up for you to look at, which is the miracle of this medication. So, yeah. And when I start getting squirrely in my mind, I'm like, oh, when was the last time you did it? A week and a half ago. Okay, it's time. So I got to kind of do my plan. I still woke up this morning and took my notes and watched it. But so, yeah, so I had a funny ketamine story. And I also wonder if Leo getting sick around his birthday every year is indicative of some trauma that his body is holding on to from how he came into the world.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Me either.
Wait, can I ask a question? When you have a 4 vaginal suppository bad trip, do you get any of the Windex clarity on the heels of that? Or is it just like, let me get through this?
Okay, so I will say about the vaginal trip that...
Sorry.
Margie, you have every right to laugh
I've never heard that before. Sorry. Nobody's ever said about my vaginal trip.
I know. I've put a hallucinogen in my vagina. I've put many hallucinogens inside of my vagina. That's so weird to think about.
I know. Look, I woke up once to someone sticking a stimulant up my butt. So, like, you know.
Oh my God.
Look, we have party days and then we
have party days.
mature.
We have days like then we have things under the guise.
He's just trying to wake me up, he said, you know?
Oh my God.
That's terrible. I laugh and like I wish that on no one. That is terrible behavior. Do not repeat.
How many women out there have stories like that? You know?
Anyways, you've had lots of things up your vagina, but this particular vaginal trip left you with clarity or no?
My vagina's all, excuse me, no. Your brain can handle this. Ma'am, I am not down. I do not enthusiastically consent to these suppositories. But she didn't like push them out. She's just like, you know what? I'm going to absorb these things, but it's not going to be the way you think. So I don't know if I had clarity. I did have clarity in that moment, but it was more of like a creativity burst. Because I just like wanted to write the whole thing down and do something with it later.
I love that. There's no wasted trip. Even a bad vaginal trip gave you...
And I knew that even as I was like seasick, like with my head in my hand, just like, I can't even turn an inch. I can't drink water. I took the Zofran. I don't like, nothing was going to help me but time in that situation.
I always say time is so long when you're like
oh my
sick
God.
Or sad. It's just the
time
longest.
Is so long when you're sick or sad or you're trying to get over seasickness from 4 suppositories. I guess you gotta learn the hard way sometimes, right? Anyway,
I mean, you can't know until you try.
You can't know until you try. And so now it's like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. I guess I was just trying to see if more. It just doesn't work. Doesn't work.
Double dosing your vag.
Double dosing, just like my body does not respond to vaginal delivery of that particular medication. Medicine, yeah. So I guess I gotta put it in my mouth or put it in my arm, which is fine with me. At least those two work.
So interesting that both of those stories you told are like about your vagina kind of rejecting something.
Oh,
like it wasn't going to release
God.
Leo and it wasn't going to accept however much ketamine you stuck inside it.
I feel like Kramer right now. You just blew my mind. You did. You just blew my mind. Yeah.
You just blew my mind. That's
yeah, dude. Leo did not want to come out. My cervix got to 9 centimeters.
Wow. That's
9.
enough, right?
No, 10. It was
Oh,
so
son
close.
of a
I know. They were
so
gonna, like,
rude.
we were getting ready to put the, epidural in my back so that I could get the, God, I think I was still in the window where I could have taken Pitocin, which is what helps you induce labor, and so but, his heart rate was dropping at the same time there was shift change. So in my opinion, the shift change was really what was kind of like the deciding factor in why they were like C-section now. My mother and my husband were there listening to the doctor. At one point after they said C-section, ugh, I could cry. At one point after they said C-section, I just kind of like checked the fuck out. And my mom and my husband were like, this is what's best. And I was so resigned. And then my mom, I will never forget this. She looked at me really sweetly and she's like, you just have to have everything your sister has, don't you? Because my sister had a C-section too. And neither one of
Oh,
us wanted it.
yeah.
And we both have like a lot of stupid ass, probably misogynistic based guilt in our bodies because, you know, we couldn't do it the right way in quotations. And we both had
Yeah.
like, I don't know. It just, I want it to not feel like a failure. And I'm almost there, but I'm not there. I still feel like a little bit of a failure. I still feel like a little bit responsible for that.
I mean, it's so interesting. Like pregnancy and birth and all that stuff is just so personal. Like everybody's story is so particular to them. I have, a different perspective on C-sections because I'm sure I've told you before. My mom's first child, she carried to term, went into labor, and the heart rate dropped and she birthed the baby. And they said, "What's your religion?" And they gave her a name, Maria. And my mom, that was it. She got to see her. She never got to hold her. She didn't get to say goodbye.
God,
So,
Margie.
so my sister wanted to have her first, naturally. But the second her heart rate dropped, she was like, cut it out, get it out. Like, because that's our family history, like
Yeah,
we have, I think it affected, once I learned that story, I was like, oh, no wonder my mom is so overprotective. Her first one, and
totally.
like she was a working woman at the time. So like she had to go back to work and have everyone be like, how's the baby? And she's like,
No,
there's no
no,
baby, 9
no.
months. So she doesn't do baby showers.
Oh my God.
She's a big advocate for C-sections, but that's all her experience. And by
Right.
the way, Maria was, she was gestated in the 70s. So technology, I imagine, would have seen what was gone. The cord wrapped around her neck. And so when she went through the birth canal, it cut off her oxygen
God,
supply.
oh my God,
But
oh my
I
God.
know, but these days they would see that. So I don't want to
Right,
like panic anybody. But
right,
in
right.
those times, they didn't know. And my mom remained close with her OB, through both of us. And we would go see him in New York City when we were grown because obviously, he felt awful. Like he was just, devastated alongside her. But yeah, it's just, there's so much, it just seems like pregnancy is so exciting and birth is just so traumatic. Like,
I think it's traumatic regardless of, excuse me, if you go through with whatever your birth plan is, it's a lot on your body.
God, yes, it
And we
seems
don't talk about
insane.
it enough, like it's just because it's so normal. Like it's how new people come into the world every single day. It's so normal, but yeah, it's, um, oh my God, your poor mom. Because yeah, once the baby comes out, it's pretty much like, you're not persona non grata, but it's all about the baby. And you're just like,
Yes.
I went through a motherfucking ordeal right now. And, uh, yeah, I'm real glad my baby's here. Like we talked about it a couple weeks ago, just like, oh my God, your poor mom. So going back to
You
work after
know,
after
ugh.
experiencing this devastating,
And all the hope and excitement
I
and
mean, all of it.
and
And
this
then,
and I wonder if this like kind of ruined my dad too, because like he wouldn't let my mom hold her after she'd been baptized and passed. And I think that really destroyed my mom.
oh my
And
God.
my dad took her camping. No one in our family likes camping. He was just like,
Oh
I
my
think he
God.
lost his goddamn mind too. And he doesn't have any tools at all
Right.
to understand or feel grief, which relates to
Right.
this episode.
Right. Right.
And it, like, as my mom has gotten older, she's talked a lot more about Maria. And, you know, because they didn't claim her body, she was buried by prisoners on Hart Island off of New York City. And my mom has located her grave and, like, oh, now I'll cry.
Oh, honey.
And hopes to get there before, you know, we'll see. But
This is your sister, Margee.
I know.
This is your sister.
But I try to feel like I came into the world like already with an angel, you know what I mean?
For sure. For sure.
Oh my God, how many episodes am I
Honey.
going to cry? It's therapy.
Margee,
It's therapy.
this is what we do.
I
This is what we
know.
do. All the roads lead to Bravo. We can, you know, let's know.
It really
but
is
seriously,
true. I
it's
think
true.
it's on my mind, like all this grief stuff because of this episode. Like, again, the
Right.
beginning was like, oh, can we please move on? And then
Yeah.
the last like 5 minutes, I was just like gutted.
Yeah.
And
This was,
yeah.
This was a good, juicy episode. I agree. Oh God, Margee.
Listen,
It's devastating.
it is. And it just makes me, you know, like, it just makes me understand a lot of my mom's parenting decisions.
Totally.
And it makes me have so much respect for her. Like, cause I've asked her a number of times, I'm like, how did you go to work? How did you leave the house? What the fuck? What a mind fuck that you spend 9 months with everyone in your life getting amped for this. And then you're the one who has to like go around and be like, I mean, in her body, like she had you know what I mean? Like the whole thing is just, she's a fucking hero. Like the fact that she even wanted to get pregnant again, I thought was remarkable. And then she did it twice. And, you know, we were both C-sections. She didn't breastfeed either one of us. We were bottle babies and like, whatever. She wanted to work, you know?
Yeah.
It was the 70s.
Yeah. I mean, listen,
you can't pump at work in the 70s.
You can't
80s.
pump at work in the 70s. And also like, you know, fed is best. That's the bottom line is fed is best. And, you know, Leo, that was another thing. We have talked about this a couple weeks ago. Couldn't breastfeed. This does not fucking happen to me. I am really tough. I am very self-sufficient. I thought like, birth, yeah, I trust my body. I can do this. Not only is this baby not going to come out yo cervix because it did not get big enough, breastfeeding is not going to work for you and your kid without like a lot of blood, like 2 visits a day from my lactation consultant that I thank God was covered on our insurance. Like the minute she would leave my room or when she started coming to our house after we got home, I would just like be in panic mode up until. So yeah, Leo couldn't breastfeed until we had his, he had a tongue tie.
Oh.
So once he got that sorted out, it should have offered like instant relief, but it didn't. It took a few more weeks, but then it was fine. And I was so grateful. But my mom stopped with me and my sister because it hurt. So, and tongue ties and lip ties are very common. You know, you just do. God damn it. It's fraught and rot.
It is.
And you can't predict shit. And it's really, I just encourage everyone to let go of as much judgment around their bodies as they can, me included, because, you know, I don't know what else to say, but yeah, shit, man. Welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, everybody, where we're going to talk about.
We've talked about vaginal suppositories, births, deaths, cried. Anyways, and we haven't even talked about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
On ketamine while your kid's barfing and has a fever. Like that's super, you know, that's super relatable.
It is. Sure. Why not?
Oh my God.
So should we get into it? This most recent episode of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I didn't write down the title because I never do.
I did.
Great.
It's season 13, episode 14, Aches and Spains. Padum bump. Spains instead of pains.
I get it.
Oh, I know. You're like, bitch, I understand.
I'm like,
it's just
can
stupid.
we pitch on that for a minute? I think it's just because most of the episode was so whatever. We can just power through it unless it really spoke to you. I don't know. Did anything in this like first?
Let me see. Let's see. Oh, the only thing I had to say about like the beginning um, just doesn't happen until the church and Sutton. I just
Yeah.
had a lot to say about Catholicism.
Yes.
That's
I mean,
all.
just to walk everyone through, if you haven't seen the episode, we resume at that church on a hill. Crystal is worrying that she's having stroke symptoms. Someone named Gavin rides in the hospital with her to get treated. The ladies go into the church. Erica says she's already done that shit. She already prayed to the saint. And then she reminds us she had a chapel in her house. And talks about being raised and confirmed and married Catholic, and then does that thing that I really don't appreciate. I don't love that thing. Like, we're all sinners. Like, I don't like that
No, I
because
don't
people
either.
use that to like justify hateful behavior. And like, I don't care for that.
Yeah.
Um, and then Dorit bows out of the church rituals because she tells us Jewish people don't pray in church. And Sutton lights candles. And then this is the part where I thought it started to get sweet, where she said being in church means being closer to God, and being closer to God means being closer to my dad.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I really loved Sutton and Kyle together in this in this episode, and I loved Sutton. I loved Sutton throughout this whole episode,
I
and
can't.
especially in this part, you
I have
know?
railed on her all season
Mhm.
long, and
Mhm.
she got me in this
Yep.
scene, and then she lost me in the middle, and then at the end, I was like, I'm yours forever. Like,
Yeah,
she was,
I know.
because she talked here about how the Catholic, you know, faith
God.
deems suicide a sin. And fortunately, she was raised Presbyterian, so she's, comfortable in believing her father's in heaven. Um, but yeah, um, yeah, you just felt her pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I I'm half Mexican, so it's well, actually, so everyone on my dad's side of the family, both on my grandmother's and my grandfather's side, started out as Catholic. Whether they stayed Catholic was up to them. I think there are some, I believe, that are Jehovah's Witnesses now. No comment, but you can deduce the comment by the way I said no comment.
Mhm.
Uh, from my experience, this episode we might need some Candace triangles.
Mm.
In my experience with Catholicism, and this includes family that are Catholic and friends that are Catholic, with the exception of one friend. I have not seen Catholicism do anything but vaporize lives, not just destroy lives, vaporize them. Like decimate childhoods, decimate hopes for the future, decimate self-esteems. And I really appreciate the iconography, especially, in, like the Virgen de Guadalupe and all of the saints. And how can you not like Saint Francis? The is Saint Francis also like the patron saint of animals?
Mhm.
Like Saint
Yes.
Francis is a G. I understand that. Um, that's where it ends for me, and I think it is. I think it's just fucking sanctioned evil, money making sanctioned evil. And I would tell this to the Pope, to his
Mhm.
face, and you know that I would.
I know you would. And I think this pope might be able to receive it. This is the only guy who's like at least trying to hear something other than, I don't know. I'm not defending the Catholic Church because, speaking of pregnancy, like,
Oh, dude.
it, yeah, it affected my family. One of my mom's sisters got pregnant when she was young and unmarried and got sent to one of those homes where they just shame you for 9 months and then rip your baby away from you. And she never like mentally recovered from that. It destroyed her. She reconnected with she found her daughter found her at some point, and they reconnected briefly, but it became too painful for my aunt when her daughter started having children, because my aunt didn't get to have that experience. It got torn away from her.
Oh
And
my God.
my mom recently discovered this note that my aunt wrote to her daughter. And it's I mean, it's so beautiful. It's so simple, but it is fraught with Catholic guilt. It's like she talks about how, like, I wish I had done this. I wish I had done that. I wish I hadn't been so flawed. If I wasn't this or that, this letter would be more clear or would have come earlier. And I was like, oh my God, you didn't do anything. You did
Mm-mm.
something that everyone else did. They were at a
Mhm.
wedding. She got knocked up by like the best man. Like if she'd lived in an era of plan B,
Right,
there would be none of this shit,
right, right, right.
But, you know,
Oh my God.
anyways, Catholicism.
So yeah, this Jesus Christ. Anyway, yeah, Catholicism, man.
On a lighter note, we
No
just
gracias.
check in with Sutton and Kyle talking about comparing their suicide friend dreams. Like
I know.
Sutton's friend had a dream in which her dad said, "Tell Sutton she was right. I was tired." That puts a lump in my throat.
I
And
know.
then Kyle had consulted a psychic who told her Laureen doesn't know what happened to her. And then Sutton said something incredibly wise and profound. She says, "You'll never get the answers you want. You just have to know she's at peace now. That's the focus." And I was like, oh my God, Sutton is the
Yeah.
one like dropping gems of wisdom.
We need to remember that you are the company you keep, and she keeps company with Jennifer Tilly. And Jennifer Tilly is, for all intents and purposes, like a bad ass.
But she also keeps company with Kathy Hilton.
She
You know
does
what I
keep company
mean?
with Kathy
So,
Hilton, but she's not like it's deep. God, I will rationalize anything I will rationalize anything to keep Sutton like top and center in my heart.
you've protected her
I
from jump.
really
I've been
feel
like,
protective of her.
yeah,
I'm still in denial that she could be, and I can't even say she's an alcoholic. I'm still in denial that she could be.
well,
And she even mentioned vodka in this episode.
I know.
She's all vodka, and I was all, well, she's an alcoholic, Ramona. Just get over it. You know
Who
she is.
knows? Who knows? But I did when she at her dinner party, like she sure did start talking real slow and southern at the end.
They
And
were all
I don't
tossing it
know.
back. They were
Oh
all
my
tossing it back.
God. What a good time though. You're in Spain.
I
Enjoy.
know. So listen, yeah, we're 32 minutes into this episode, and Bravo has taken us deep, deep, deep down
Oh my
into
God.
some existential shit.
Yeah,
So
truly.
lest anyone judge.
Yeah. I
You.
mean,
Mhm.
I would suggest that if this episode didn't move you, like check in about your grief. Have you dealt with your grief? Because like this
Oh my
should
God.
bring a lot of things up for anybody who's been on this planet like 20 plus years, you know?
And you can't hide from grief. You can't hide from it.
No.
It whack-a-moles itself like up, and it might not come up like, oh, I'm sad. It'll be like, why does my back hurt all the time? Why am I getting splitting headaches? Why can't I sleep at night? Why, when I walk by this one building, does my body start to shake? Like, why, when I'm walking through fucking Target and I hear a child start to scream in distress, do I disassociate from my body and not know how to get back because I need to go rescue that child, even if they're crying because they like drop their pacifier? No, I project a whole entire story onto it because of my past PTSD and trauma. So then I went and got ketamine, and now I don't disassociate when I'm walking through Target and hear a child
Well, and
scream.
every new grief is every old grief, and
Exactly,
Sutton basically
exactly.
says that at the end when
Yep,
she's
she
like,
sure
"I don't know
does.
why I'm freaking out," and then suddenly, yes, she does. This has
Yeah.
to do with her father and the guilt, like it's just so um yeah, everyone says grief is nonlinear and she will not be ignored when she wants to
No,
move a feeling through you. So,
she's not going to be ignored, Dan.
God, no, no, she will not.
I love that movie. That was a Fatal Instinct, Fatal
Attraction.
Attraction, Fatal
Hmm.
Attraction
Sharon
reference.
Stone.
Jesus
Oh,
Christ. No, Glenn Close.
Glenn Close.
Glenn
Sorry.
Glenn
Oh, I was
Close is
thinking of.
Fatal Attraction, and then Sharon Stone was Basic Instinct. Two
Thank
fantastic
you.
fucking movies, if you ask
Yes.
me. I mean, my God. Erica Jane is sad. She's disappointed. She's disappointed that her friends and castmates haven't said anything congratulatory about the verdict regarding her earrings. And I meant to look up. Okay, so I will drop in the show notes when we post the episode later I will drop the episode, which just came out, I believe, yesterday from the Bravo docket. Angela, one of the attorneys that co-hosts the show, she gave like a 2-minute synopsis about why, which we all knew, why this verdict is not the flex that Erica thinks that it is. You know,
It's not at all like, who's
yeah.
confused?
Well,
Like,
Erica Jane, apparently.
yes, yes. I
So
mean,
I believe, and I could be getting this completely wrong. I meant to go back and listen to it again before I wrote this note down so that I could, I believe what Angela said was that it was determined that funds were used to buy the earrings, but I don't fucking know. I'll drop the episode, listen to it. It's right at the beginning. If you don't want to commit to the rest of it, you don't have to. I personally, it was about Tom Girardi's competency hearing and how they both agree and or disagree on why he was found to be competent to stand trial. After listening to those 2 episodes, the jury's out for me. I'm not sure, but anyway.
I just feel like
So,
if at a certain, I just don't understand why Erica feels that it's okay to parse out what money came from where. At a certain point, he was stealing so much money
right,
and leaving people suffering so bad that, like, I don't care if those earrings were bought from money he actually earned and not the stolen, like, kitty. But, like, I don't know. It
right,
just, I just wrote detestable. I don't even know what she said,
dude.
but I was just like, I can't. I just am not. She's got to drop this.
She
Otherwise,
really does. She has no
just,
legs to stand on.
they're very skinny now, her
Uh,
Ozempic legs, her hormones legs.
yeah. Oops. I came in with that Erica Jane note after because that came before Kyle and Sutton getting deep about their nearest and dearest.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I guess that's okay. Sorry, everybody. Nonlinear. Welcome to
Um,
ADHD.
and then we move into the FaceTime with Crystal in the hospital, and where she reports she was given anti-nausea meds. And I literally
Yeah.
perked up and went, Ramona.
Yeah. I bet they gave her Zofran. I'm like, why didn't you just say the name? Just say the fucking name. She's like, yeah, they gave me medicine for anti-nausea.
But she said she'll be back for paella. So I was like, so this wasn't a stroke, like, at all.
No,
That's
it
fine.
wasn't a stroke.
I'm glad. I'm glad. And then the ladies go to meet up with their tour guide,
Oh my God.
Manolo, not Blahnik, Dorit. Um, I don't know. They look at a menu of pork feet and rice and fish. They order very strong drinks. I don't know. Did anything matter to you? Anne-Marie FaceTimes her family. She called her husband daddy because the kids are there. That didn't bother me. Everyone
It
at the table
didn't.
was like, you call him Danny? It's like, well,
I
that's what I
know.
see every parent do because the
Just
kids don't
like,
know James. They know daddy. Like, I don't understand.
I, yeah, I mean, we say
And
Papa
I
and
don't like
Mama in this
Anne-Marie,
house.
but
I don't
yeah.
like Anne-Marie. I know. And,
But in
but
this
yeah, the
moment,
daddy stuff, I was all ladies, put down the, put down the porn that's come out in the last 5 years.
the
Where,
last
like,
5 years, and that was
the
like
daddy
50
stuff is
years ago. Like,
50 years
get with
ago.
it, girls. We've come a long way since daddy. Um, and then Kyle notes the turn in the relationship between Crystal and Anne-Marie while, since Crystal leaned on her for her doctor, um, her
Yeah.
nurse, excuse me,
Her nurse
her
expertise.
nursing expertise. Yes. Oh, okay. And then in a transition that made no sense to me, Garcelle says, look, I'm going to take this moment to talk about Dorit's unconscious Karen behavior again. And I thought it was a valuable conversation. I just felt like if I hear Taco Tuesday one more time, we've
I
already
know.
seen this conversation a hundred times. For the benefit of the group, I'm glad they had it. But I
Me
was
too.
like,
Me
can
too.
we get on with this? Just
I mean,
drumming my nails like,
I still felt like, how do I say this? I understood what Garcelle meant when she said, I don't believe that anyone in this group is racist. I would have phrased it along the lines of, I don't believe anyone in this group is consciously racist. No. Overtly, no.
intentionally. Yeah,
Intentionally, thank you.
I
Intentionally
agree.
racist. I don't think that people in that group are intentionally racist, but when Dorit said, I don't think about that, and Garcelle's like,
That's my point.
that's the fucking problem,
Mm-hmm.
you know? It's I I'm half Mexican. I talk about that in therapy all the time. My therapist is a woman of color. I met another mixed race woman on Saturday evening. I went to this get together for prospective parents at this school that we're hoping my kid will get into. And it's like, you just know when you're standing in front of someone. Like we went from like, oh my God, your outfit's cute. Oh my God, your outfit's cute. Oh my God, we're mixed race. Do you remember when you went to meet your husband's parents and you walk in and you're like, oh my God, are they gonna like judge me because I'm brown or black? Every single time I met someone I was dating's parents, my husband, my future mother-in-law, my friend's parents, and this goes back to like grade school, like the first time I like felt, the first time I knew, oh, I'm an other. I'm not, it didn't really happen in LA because, we lived in a really diverse neighborhood in LA, but when we moved to Bellingham, Washington, which was at the time we lived there, 99.2% fucking white, and I'm Jewish and half Mexican. It's like, I immediately was like, oh my God, I'm walking into these people's houses and I'm brown. What are they going to think of me? Our next door neighbor would hear my dad playing Mexican music and be like, oh, sounds like you're having a fiesta over there. Like microaggression on top of microaggression, before we even knew what that word was. There were macroaggressions too. Do not get me wrong. But you just, like, there are these experiences, and these are like mild experiences. Have I been followed in a store? Fuck yes. Have I fully code switched before I had to go to Nordstrom and do like a return, or before I wanted to go look in Barney's? I would be downtown San Francisco, and unless I had like my expensive handbag on me, I like wouldn't go into Barney's because I'd been in there and like, do you need some help? Do you need some help? Do you need some help? By the security guard, by the whatever. And it's like, it's a real thing. So I don't know what happened between the conversation. I'm looking at my whiteboard again, Margie. I don't know what happened between the conversation that Anne-Marie was wrapping up about her and Crystal getting along or something. Maybe something came up that if editing had left it in, it wouldn't have seemed like such a non sequitur.
Maybe it was just like about mending broken
Maybe,
friendships.
yeah,
I don't know,
maybe,
but
maybe.
it was a real rough transition.
But yeah, it seemed like in this arena, in this setting, it seemed like what Garcelle was saying, because there was a lack of defensiveness going on with everybody. They were in this like neutral situation. Everyone was there. It felt like what Garcelle was saying. It felt like people were more receptive to it. I don't think that's better. I think that people should be receptive to what Garcelle says, regardless, when she's talking about race. Like, shut the fuck up and listen to her. Like, you listen to her. You don't listen to you. You don't listen to her. You listen to Garcelle and what she's saying. And I think Garcelle went a little easier than I would have, but I feel like things landed. Time will tell.
I don't know if they landed with Dorit.
No.
I feel like Dorit landed in the same place. But I think what you're saying speaks to what Garcelle said, which really broke my heart. And she says, you don't appreciate the walk that I've walked. And like,
That
it takes,
yes,
like we talked about before, it takes curiosity, it takes empathy, it takes interest to dig into that and ask people to, ask your friends to tell you these stories, or, you know what I mean? It's just, and Dorit left the thing again, leaving it all in Garcelle's lap. If I do anything, she told you what you did. She's told you privately once. She's now told you in front of a group in Spain, and you still can't grab onto it. So that was unsatisfying on the Dorit front.
There's myriad fucking books. There's workbooks that accompany those books. There are YouTubes. Go scroll through someone's like Instagram reels from 2020. This is not information that's hidden with a special fucking passcode, No.
And Dorit's thing of like, she thought it was an unfair characterization because she's Jewish and experienced anti-Semitism in her youth. And you can experience discrimination and still discriminate against other people. And in 100%. Fact, sometimes there's such an ache and a charge behind your own pain. It's that you transfer it onto someone, you know what I mean? So like, I don't think Dorit had much of an argument there of being like, I understand your plight. She used the word plight. And I was like, this is just not, you missed the point. And I feel for her. And those pictures of Dorit as a little kid were so cute. She was so cute.
She was
a little
cute.
beanie hat.
She was cute.
You never want to see someone that size. Like, I hated to think of someone that size being on the receiving end of like any sort of epithet. Like, that's disgusting.
Dude. Yeah.
But it's weird that Dorit's never mentioned it until Garcelle faces her and says like, your behavior is Karen-y. Anyways.
I mean, I've had people talk shit about Jews and not know that I'm Jewish. I've had people talk shit about Mexicans knowing that I'm Mexican. And to what Garcelle said, yeah, it's true. Like when I told my husband about, being freaked out every time I met someone's parents or every time I met someone's parents, he was just shocked. And I'm like, I can't believe you're shocked. And it's true. Like,
it's because it's not our experience. We've never had to blink.
Right.
Where it's always like we walk in a part of,
Mm-hmm.
or at
It's
least
wild.
expecting that will be the situation.
Mm-hmm. Anyway. Yeah, my friends were like, you felt like that? I'm all, yeah. I'm like, holy shit, I never knew. Well, it's like, I'm not going to be like, hey, I'm super afraid to meet your parents because they might not like me because my skin's brown and my name ends with an EZ. And then, will you and I be friends? Will they let me come over?
I mean,
am I going to need to run away and go cry?
My friend since kindergarten is brown with the last name that ends in EZ. And she did tell me that. Like, I think maybe that's why, like, I got a head start with this because she did say, like, I'm a little afraid to meet your dad. And I was like, you should be. And she's like, but here are my reasons why. And I was like, yeah, he is.
New fear unlocked.
Yeah, 100%. I'm like, oh, yeah, he's fully racially insensitive at best, But yeah, and maybe it's, I only had 2 friends through middle school, and Miss Rodriguez was one of them. So I feel like it was never my experience. And I think I got to look at that at a young age and be like, how come when we go to the pharmacy, like nobody looks at me looking at the Playgirl magazines, but they're all up my friend's ass looking at the Bonnie Bell lip things,
Right.
And
Right.
Whatever. The 80s in Pasadena, that's what that was.
Dude, it happened to me in Encinitas in the 2000s.
That's disgusting. It's so unfortunate.
Going to get like my favorite fucking flip-flops from what was this store called? It was in Encinitas. It sold like a bunch of surf and beach shit. And I wanted a pair of reefs. I wanted a new pair of reef gingers. And I was meeting my friend at the Panikin in Encinitas. I'd driven down from LA. And I walked in and I was like, you need help? You need help? It's like, no, I'm getting a fucking pair of thongs off the goddamn like thing on the wall, the little hook on the wall. So I went to go meet my friend Sarah, and I was like, yeah, just some fucking brown girl getting followed at whatever the store is. And she's like, what brown girl? I'm all, girl, hello. Like, me, your friend that you were about to have coffee with. She's like, I just don't think of you like that. And I'm like, I know what you're saying.
The added fatigue that must come with that. Like, I'll never know. Like, I just can't imagine.
And like, I don't even get it half as bad as other people do, but it's
the fact that you have to be on alert for it at all is just like horrifying.
My sister recently, she has a hardcore, steadfast, rock solid mindfulness meditation practice. And when I was up there for Thanksgiving, she told me about when she went to get a meditation pillow. And this is Portland, and Portland is white A fucking F, right? As fucking fuck. Sorry, Mom. And she said, like, so everyone's like fucking peace, love, kumbaya until a brown girl walks in to buy a meditation pillow and with red lipstick on. And I think she might have been wearing, I don't know. I think she had on red lipstick and possibly some, a sneaker, like an Air Force One or an Air Jordan. So let's be on alert. So she said that the 2 older white women, like they had the namaste coming out of their mouth, but they did not have the namaste in their eyes. Kept following her. And so she was going to call them and be like, you know what? I feel like you put this racist energy onto my fucking meditation pillow, and you need to know that you did this. I don't know if she did it or not, but it's just, we've been alive for a long fucking time.
Yeah. And until people like, there's, that concept of unconscious bias, so like you don't have to be overtly racist, but you're still causing harm in the world.
Right.
If you're not examining your biases, and everyone has them. And,
examine your bias, dude.
But they, when a friend tells you how much it's affecting her, if I was Dorit, I would have received that very differently.
I
I wouldn't have
know.
said, yeah, but and I wouldn't have said, like,
Yeah.
tell me. Next time, tell me. This is actually your fault.
Please,
So tell
please do
me.
my work for me. Will you please do my
Ugh,
work for me? Oh my God,
barf.
Garcelle, not only are you carrying this like mental load but let's add some emotional labor to your plate, and you tell me when I'm doing it wrong. I'm just gonna keep doing my Dorit thing.
Garcelle's so sweet and diplomatic, and she just says that it's a human experience, and we're all still learning and getting to know each other.
She's so
And
compassionate and
she's so
generous.
nice. I know.
She's just, what are you gonna do?
I know. You don't. Yeah. And then Sutton is trying to hustle everyone back to the house to meet her friend Trevor and all of his friends, and then the ladies go rogue into an antique fan shop
Oh my
where they
God.
like jizz over $300 fans. That like why?
I don't understand how these ladies let themselves get pulled into a tourist trap, and why the fuck do you want to go to Spain and go to Hermes?
They just want to spend.
I just
Like spending is the high, that's the line of cocaine for them. Clearly, I
velvet
mean, yeah.
velvet two-piece, sure. That I'm like, oh, Kyle, cute. No, yeah, but I
But
mean,
in a panic, like I think it was
yeah.
cute, but she was like shaking. She was looking at it so fast. I was like,
This thing came in 3 minutes.
oh my God, it was insane. And then Erica lays down her Amex to cover Garcelle's necklace. And then Erica, again, God, go to hell. She says she knows she should be budget conscious, but she'd really like someone to come in and give her $100 million. And I was like, you know who else would love $100 million?
Oh
The people
yeah,
owed it after winning lawsuits
right,
over their lives being shattered.
right. The burn
Stop
victims
talking.
and the widows.
Stop talking.
Right, right,
God,
right.
she's such an asshole.
She's such a fucking nightmare.
God. And
I
then, yeah, sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
I'm not qualified to deny ADHD makes my words my brain works faster than my mouth, or my mouth works faster than my brain, and then that happens.
We're
Just
both succumbing to it today. I've done it 100 times
right.
already. Whatever.
Erica, I fucking forgot what I was going to say. I'm not qualified to call her a narcissist, but I feel like I feel things. That's all
I
I'm
mean,
going to say.
if you get to age 50 something and you can't comprehend
For
the
them.
concept of empathy, we have a long road to hoe if you're not actually have a narcissistic diagnosis.
Oh my
Speaking of
God.
diagnosis, Kyle says that she has a shopping addiction, and she bought, anything she could get her hands on, including a ring that didn't fit her. She was just like, I'll take it. I was like, this is so frenzied. I can't.
Yeah.
This doesn't seem like a fun shopping trip in Spain. It seems like supermarket sweep. It was crazy.
I don't know. Is there anything about being back in the villa or getting ready for a paella class that is of note?
We learned that Crystal has a family history, and she today made her face her mortality, and she appreciates Anne-Marie's care, and she won't be drinking. And Garcelle is advised to be open to the paella. Sutton attributes the events of the day to Mercury being in retrograde. Crystal FaceTimes Rob, who just says, drink your fluids, I gotta go.
Oh my God. I had a note about that. It was so decidedly unsexy when he's like, well, just his tone. He's all, well, drink your fluids. I'm all, ew, Rob, just like.
If you're gonna travel that much, you gotta drink your fluids, you brave little toaster.
Babe, see if someone can find you a Gatorade and pound that. Like, that would have been better than like, well, make sure you drink your fluids. I'm going to go watch a sneak peek at the brave little toaster. Like, okay, honey.
Yeah. And then we get these phone conversations that just make me so uncomfortable because the tension is so familiar. Kyle FaceTimes Mauricio. He's cutting in and out because he's parking. The screen is like black. And she's like, well, this is an annoying FaceTime call. And he's, he reports that the girls and the dogs are okay, which is all we need to know. But both of them seem like they are just, they could stand to never talk to each other again.
Yeah.
And then Erica's shit-faced and bitching about having to care about Sutton's paella party. Yeah, with the erudites. And she spells erudites and defines it for us. And great.
I thought that was funny and then the Chiron's all the erudites.
Mm-hmm.
They're erudites showing up.
Whatever. And then they come. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
And they come and we learn that Sutton isn't opposed to teabagging.
again, this is where I'm just like, my hair is on fire. What was all that shit at Magic Mike then? What was that?
Very good
So you're
point.
going to, in your confessional, you're going to answer a direct question and not say, I'm on the board of the ABT. I'm not going to talk about teabagging. Oh, but now you're just going to say like, I'm not opposed for someone like dropping their balls in my mouth. Like so again, she loses me here. I'm just like, I don't know who you are. I can't stand you.
Oh my God, that's she was full hip. She was
She
full
was
hip.
full hip.
Full
She
hip.
fully, yeah,
Totally.
she went full
Totally.
hip. Dorit, tells us that she can tell Erica's drunk because she's saying phrases like Sutton's such a beautiful soul. And it's true. That doesn't really seem like a
Oh
Erica
my
language.
God.
Oh my God. And this made me die laughing. Storm enters the courtyard, like kind of in the background. And Erica like hears just the beginning of his voice. And she goes, Storm? Like involuntarily, just
Oh
like
my God, Margee.
on high
Oh
alert
my
for her.
God. Oh my
It's
God.
literally is like animals. Like she sensed his pheromones and she was like, Storm.
And then Daddy
Whatever.
Storm shows up.
I
Storm's
know. Storm
dad
and
comes.
son. They're adorable. I
And
love that dad. He's so proud of his
he
son.
was
And
he was super proud of his dad. And Crystal and Garcelle are into the
oh
dad.
my God, I just enough.
They're
I
into
can't.
Storm's dad.
I just wrote, it's still gross. This horny old lady business. It's still gross. Because the dad is so sweet. He's saying like it made cooking more fun when he did it with his son. And they're just like, like, come to my room, take a
Girl,
Viagra and
what's
pounce
so
him
sweet
down.
though?
Oh my God.
Girl, and tell me more about the saffron that goes into this.
And then Trevor
Anyway,
collects Merce from the ledge, and everyone sits for what I labeled a very boring dinner party. It's just like, I can't. Trevor tells a boring Sutton story about Sutton being mean and throwing paper clips or something. And then Erica becomes like a late night talk show sidekick as
oh
people
my
tell stories.
God.
She's just, Brooklyn, what a dump. 14, Jesus Christ. I was like, oh my God, just can you quiet for a second?
She really let her like inner bada bing
Yes, she really
Dave
did.
come out. Yeah. Yeah.
She could hear the rim shots in her head after every
Oh
comment she made,
my God.
including, can I say something? I know you love Merce, but Merce was in a Ziploc bag. And
Merce is
that
in the Ziploc.
weirdly was an
Yeah.
act break, as if it was like any dramatic tension from that.
Everyone was like in their confessionals with a Ziploc bag. And I was like, let the bag go. Let the bag go.
Yeah,
That was my Sutton homage.
I know. I love it. But I love that Sutton also describes it like you receive the ashes in a big plastic bag, like a goldfish. I was like,
Yeah. I mean, she's not wrong.
she's not. But this to me is what like initiated, this is sort of where like the grief story began for me, because hearing some, like, it's so hard to reconcile how the person you loved for all those years is reduced to a goldfish bag of
Yeah,
dust. And
it
it's
is.
like, so in that moment, I was like, oh, is she processing something more here? Because that's like, yeah. I get flippant like that too when I'm like over emotional and things don't make sense.
Totally.
Like,
Totally.
oh my God.
I just had
Okay,
one
go
thing to
ahead.
say about Dorit because I haven't talked shit about her enough
Oh, please.
in this episode. I don't know if you saw the Instagram post I put up a few days ago where it was when I was editing and I send myself notes when I'm editing.
Yes,
If I
saw
don't,
that.
I was just like in my zone. I didn't feel like getting up and getting a piece of paper. I just wanted to write it down. So I texted and it kept auto-correcting Dorit's name to like, it corrected it to dirty. I corrected it to foot. Just wouldn't stop and it made me laugh so hard.
Dirty
So
Foot.
I need to start calling her like Dirty or Foot. So
Call her both. It's Eagle Woman and Dirty Foot.
when Dirty Foot walks in against like Trevor and the other erudites, like you can tell that she's not as chic as them. She's gonna put on her chic-ass airs to like try to blend in with them. So that was my first judgment of Dorit, my first slam. And then when she is all, oh, so Sutton wants us to think she grew up rich, but she likes to pretend she was. And I was all, ma'am, the pretender at Vu?
Two.
Is
The
you?
call's coming from inside the house.
The call is coming from inside the house. Thank you. Look in the mirror, lady. Anyway, that's all. And then Erica
I'm
Jane lets us know she met a lot of erudites when she was married to Tom Girardi, and that's how she knows
But she
so many
also knows
things.
who Beanie Siegel is, you know? She also lets
Right.
us know that. Like, she's, hell yeah, I know who the fuck he is. Like, what are you, stop talking. And then the erudites introduce themselves, which was, again, so boring and long. Like, yes, their stories are interesting, I know,
Very,
but
but
that's a
yeah.
different show. That I'll watch that
Yeah.
show if I want to watch that show.
That was like an Anthony Bourdain episode where he's meeting with people and they're all sharing their life experiences. Oh, R.I.P. But like a legit R.I.P.
No,
What a
for
soul.
sure.
Right. Yeah. It didn't just
It
it's
wasn't in
too
any
hard to switch from their
context.
inanity of like velvet bathing suit supermarket sweep and, yeah, like I lived in a war. Like that's
It was heavy. It was like accomplishments and pedigrees and
uh-huh.
hardships. And I was
Uh-huh.
just like,
Uh-huh.
I can't really follow this because it's moving too fast and also too slow. Um, yeah, Erica just keeps interjecting. And I did the only thing that I liked. Oh my God. She's talking about the Middle East and the Fertile Crescent and
Bruh.
naming types of Muslims. I was like, can you
I know. I
please
was all, please
just
stop while you're
stop
ahead. Just
talking for a
stop,
second? It's
stop,
so
stop.
uncomfortable.
Please stop. Yeah.
And Dorit said it's like watching Drunk Rain Man. And I was like, either that's a funny line she came up with on her own or whoever wrote it. That was funny. Merce is in the purse. I mean, this whole, like, what is this episode? Okay, Erica and Garcelle make mention again of tag teaming Storm and Sun. The erudites make a final toast, and Erica does have the best exit line of the millennium where she says, okay, good night, thank you, and very much be done. This is when I do
loved
love
her
drunk people.
dress.
Her dress was lovely.
Her
She looked great.
dress.
Her hair was
God,
cool too.
so powerless over a snakeskin. So
Really?
Oh my God. I am, yeah, that's my kryptonite. That is my sartorial kryptonite.
I
Bags,
mean,
shoes, earrings, not real snakeskin, but like a print,
receipts,
pants,
timelines, snakeskin.
snakeskin, name them, name
Oh
them.
God.
Yeah.
Then we have sort of the end of the evening. Kyle is rummaging for chocolate. Erica's wearing sunglasses, standing on Garcelle's bed. Trevor and Sutton talk.
Oh, that
And
conversation made me tear up.
are you serious?
The one about Sutton coming into her own at
That
the bar.
I could not get a handle on that man. He said, like, that's why I always called you lady, because I always knew you grew up to be a lady. I don't know. He lost me.
He saw her inner essence.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
He saw her inner essence,
And he knew her when. So that's, yeah.
And I loved that we had this snapshot of Sutton's friends because she's been so like scapegoated in this group of wolves, this rabid bunch of assholes, like when they've needed, let the mouse go. Like she's been their mouse, the fucking roller, because she puts it all out there. Again, she lays out her crazy. They hide behind it or try to manage it. She's just like, this is it. Maybe not like a this is it. I know that when she shows people who she is, I understand it's not always palatable. I know that it can make people uncomfortable. I understand that. But she does it. And they don't. And they take advantage of that. And I loved having someone come in that knew the real Sutton. Again, I am going to work everything I see, Margaret McGee, until I can make everyone see Sutton the way I do.
I think I was just, I felt like I didn't get to know that Sutton. I think that's where I just felt like I didn't get what I wanted from Trevor, because I did want to know that Sutton. Again, the cute girl in those pictures, but hearing a story about throwing paper clips and calling you lady, I didn't feel like, you know what I mean? Like if people see you and me talking,
yeah,
you learn something just from watching us interact. And from them, I got some information.
Yeah.
But, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
It just is it's our Sutton lenses. I was like, and you were like, oh, that's just how we
I
approach
know.
Sutton. So
I loved her hair. I love her hair in Spain. I know. I'm sure like part of it isn't real, but like it just was so it was like a little bit edgier than normal and
Mhm.
longer. And
I liked it longer. I thought, yeah,
yeah,
she always, her hair is always
her dress
impeccable.
at the dinner was so cute.
It was beautiful.
So cute. I loved that dress. Uh, Next morning, we have my favorite fucking Dorit pandering to her goddamn 8-year-old kid with her baby talk. Jaggy, Mama's in Spain. Jaggy, is it your soccer game today? Just like, hey, Jagger, oh my God, guess what I got to do last night? I had to make paella with a hot dad and a hot son. I'm just kidding. Don't say
Oh
that part.
God.
But, and all your aunties are acting like fools. Or, hey, do you have a soccer game? Oh my God, are you so excited? Who are you playing? Okay, tell Papa I said bye, bye. Oh no, no. PK,
Mm-mm. No,
never mind.
Papa
PK,
said bye.
Papa said bye. Papa, PK is in England. PK's in London, and Dorit's mom has come to take care of the children while she's in Spain for work. For work, I might add. She is in Spain for work. PK. Anyway, yeah, but I fucking hated that. I hated that.
Well, and it was interesting to see her confessional and how like how enraged she finally is about this. And I'm glad her mom was there because I don't think PK is a reliable parent, you know? So, and that must
True.
be really frustrating too,
Oh God,
you
yeah,
know?
totally.
If your only option is no parent or unreliable parent, like that sucks. You have no support.
Yeah, yeah, that does suck.
Um,
They both suck.
and then we head into Sutton getting ready for this ash spreading ceremony. And this is where I completely just came unraveled with her.
Totally,
And
totally.
yeah, she explains to Kyle that her feelings about Merce are tied into her feelings about her father, and her allotment of his ashes got lost along the way in one of her moves. And um, oh my God. And then she said she's also scattering her marriage's ashes.
Dude.
And I was like, oh my God, this is so much grief. It's
Yeah,
saying goodbye to
it's
your
so much.
marriage, saying goodbye to a version of yourself that cannot exist anymore. That's
Mhm.
devastating. When it's
It's
not your choice,
Yep.
that blows. Like,
Yeah,
she got me
yeah,
here. And
yeah.
hearing her talk about her divorce was so impactful when she said she
Totally.
was so angry for so long, it consumes you. And it gave me so much empathy for my mom and for my sister. And those were hard years, the first
Yeah.
ones coming out of that. That is,
Oh God.
again, when it's not your choice, like you are left, everything's burned to the ground and you're just left standing in the ashes and everyone expects you to just build it up. And
Yeah,
it takes, anyways, I just thought her perspective was so um like bittersweet,
it was.
I'm
I loved it.
alone. That broke my heart because it's
Mm,
true. And that, this ash spreading ceremony is her letting go of the three most important men in her life: her dad, her husband, and Merce.
yeah.
Yeah.
We really saw a lot of Sutton.
Yeah.
Welcome to seeing the Sutton that I always see.
It's so nice. I'm so happy to have a glimpse of her. And she loses me here and there. But again, knowing someone's backstory, that's the basis for empathy, right? So
Yeah,
I understand why Sutton is kind of squirrely and weird. Like she's gone through a lot of
she
loss
has.
and that, um, it's not a regular death. It wasn't a car accident. It's a much heavier burden to unravel when you're left behind with that. Anyways. Yeah,
No
she
answers.
through tears, she says, I'm 52. I have to be the 24-year-old girl who moved to New York again. And I sobbed
Mm.
until we got the scenes from next week where she does scatter the ashes and they all blow back and they're covered.
I
Garcelle's back is covered in Merce.
Oh God. I wonder, I mean, there's no way. I've been on a boat before, a Neptune Society. I've been on a Neptune Society excursion where someone's ashes were laid out to sea. And yeah, there's blowback. I don't know if it's just
If you got to read the
a
wind,
hazard.
man, you got to wait
I
for the
know.
breeze to
Oh,
change. You can't
criminy. I
just
mean, we were in the middle of the
if
ocean, not
your
the middle of the
hair
ocean,
is
but
blowing back, don't throw the
yeah.
ashes. You know what I mean? And next week looks interesting because Sutton is, she finally releases her ashes. And then Kyle and Mauricio, it seems like we get into it there where she says, if he's not going to put any effort in, then this marriage is not going to survive. I don't know.
I mean, yeah. it might not be surviving in real time. And I mean, I'm sure you've seen the gossip blogs this week that, like in the last 24 hours, that Morgan Wade has deleted all of her pictures of Kyle off of her Instagram. And Kyle has deleted a majority of the pictures of Morgan from her Instagram, except for the one at Lorene's memorial that Morgan performed at. They still follow
Perform
each
the
other.
"Fuck Me on the Kitchen Floor" song.
Oh my God. They say I'm too young for you.
Right.
And I say I'm too right for you. What?
Something like that.
Something like that. So I just fucking forgot where I was going with this.
I'm so sorry.
That's right. So no, it's okay. I wonder if Morgan is going to start. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think that honestly, the first thought I had was like, a lot of celebrities have a private Insta.
Mm-hmm.
Like Morgan has already established herself as being like Morgan Wade, Kyle Richards. Like we think of it together now. When you hear the name Morgan Wade, it's like you automatically think Kyle Richards. So I don't know. I wonder if Morgan's going to start like a private Insta and just use this one for her new tour. People were saying a lot of people when they go on tour release a new album, wipe their Instas clean, like comparing her to Justin Timberlake.
But that's what they said. That's what behind the headline, I read like 2 more sentences and it said she deleted everything except like her album title and her tour dates. So it's like, well,
I don't know.
But then I was curious when I heard Kyle also deleted everything. But then I read Morgan Wade came out and said that our friendship is fine. Like, I don't know.
I mean, maybe Kyle did so that people wouldn't be like, oh my God, Morgan deleted everything. And now or maybe they're like, they know how the sausage is made. And if we don't at this point, we're the stupids. We're the like, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. Like if we think that Kyle isn't above curating something for press, I'm stupid.
No such thing as bad press. Exactly. We're talking about Morgan Wade and her tour, and I certainly wouldn't have been otherwise.
I wouldn't know who Morgan Wade was without Kyle Richards.
No.
Because everything comes back to goddamn Bravo, y'all.
That's the truth. That is the truth.
Friend, what else did you watch this week?
What a week. This week I watched The Bachelor and I still find Joey like deeply charming. Yeah. And I was so excited because my 2 favorites got attention this week. Again, I don't know if I'll go the distance, but I like felt so I'm satisfied for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And then of course I watched Vanderpump Rules, and on the heels of that, I listened to all of these podcasts.
You listened to the Nick Viall one?
I did. And it's so we're so far away from this.
My coffee ready for this.
Oh my God. It's shocking. I'm sure you've heard. First of all, Tom Sandoval forgets about it, shows up 45 minutes late. Tom Schwartz is there just like vamping for his friend. And then Tom Sandoval comes in just remorseless, unrepentant, blaming Ariana, but then going back to like, I fucked up. What do you want me to say, Nick? He gets like confrontational, and Nick is like, I don't know. It is Tom Sandoval did himself 0 favors in that interview. He is just defending everything from getting in the cage with an endangered tiger to, she wouldn't sleep with him for a year. What was he supposed to do? When Raquel comes out in a whipped cream bikini, like just stop talking. And please remember, he's my age-ish. He is a couple years younger than me. You can't you can, this can be your life, but like, I don't know. He's learned absolutely nothing. And Nick Viall asked him a lot of questions about like, what are you doing to change? And he was like, I'm not going to cheat again like that. And Nick was like, cheat like that? And he's like, what do you,
he was indignant. Oh my God.
100%. And then the most tragic
with
part.
Nick Viall of all the people.
Right?
This is hilarious. Yes.
The most tragic part relevant to our podcast was his dynamic with Tom Schwartz. Tom Schwartz just kept trying to clean up the mess. Tom's always late. He's on Tom Sandoval time. I think what Tom is saying there is that he blah, blah. And like every time Tom said something or did something egregious, Schwartz would try and rescue it. And I was just like, alcoholic.
Why is he trying so? Yes,
he has the Al-Anon disease. He doesn't know that he's he keeps saying, I'm not Tom Sandoval. And yet, and I've done this too in professional relationships. So I've been that person too. Tap dancing around, making excuses and explaining away bad behavior of, an addict. So anyways, I hope Schwartz finds his way to an Al-Anon meeting at some point in his life
Schwartz
so he can really break away from
Schwartz
Sandoval.
needs so I think on Reddit, this is Googleable, I'm sure. I'm fairly certain I read that Schwartz's dad was arrested for domestic violence. So I think Schwartz grew up with a lot of uh, I think he grew up in just like hardcore dysfunction and violence.
I think so too.
And so I have some understanding for why he is the way he is. And all I can say to like why he still wants to be close with this person is it's still working for him in some way, shape, or form.
You love them. That's the confusing part.
Yeah,
It's
that
like,
is confusing.
and you really believe you can change them. If you get their attention in the right way, they'll change. You know they have it in them. And that's the Al-Anonism of like, I think that, you know, if I stick around long enough, save them enough times, they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And I just kept thinking in that whole 2-hour interview, I just kept thinking like, don't prevent a catastrophe if it's in the natural course of events.
Totally.
Tom Sandoval should be canceled.
Totally.
Tom Sandoval should face a reckoning. Tom Sandoval might have business to do in rehab. He is not to be late to this interview. Like the show's coming out. You are, as you say, persona non grata. Like I would not be late to this interview. And he claimed he was hanging out with a friend, implying it was a woman. And then later he claimed he was late because he was up all night grieving the death of his friend. And I'm just like, I don't know what to believe.
I guess
I'm
both
going to choose
true,
nothing.
But yeah, I mean, he could be grieving the friend in the company of a lady. I don't know what it's like to live with that much hubris. I don't know what it's like to live with ignorance is bliss. I really don't know what that's like.
And it's always, he's just constantly turning it on everyone. He's 45 minutes late to this podcast. I had to call him to get him out of his house.
That is insane.
He shows up and Nick Viall is like, you're late, dude. And he's like, you were late to my podcast. You were late to my podcast. And then they have this whole argument about how late. And it just is, it's so infuriating. And I don't know. It's a really weird listen. It's really weird.
Maybe I'll listen for the freak factor of it all. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be interesting background noise maybe, but
what did you think of Vanderpump Rules? What did you think of this episode?
Snooze. It was a snooze.
Yeah. Right?
I think you were the one who was saying it, or probably many people were saying it, is that this season is in great jeopardy because we watched it all play out in real time. And now seeing Ariana like being bitchy, it's like totally appropriate for where she was 3 months out of that breakup. Today, I'm just like, you know, I don't know. It's just, tricky.
I mean, it was supposed to be the last season last year. That was the speech. And
that's right.
And without the, it's just so, like, am I gonna watch? Yeah. Am I annoyed? Oh. Yes.
That's Bravo, baby.
Yeah, that's Bravo, baby. That's the deal. Get in and shut up or get out. Yeah. I guess, right? Yeah, it was stupid. This will be the last season, I bet. I mean, the Valley is coming out.
I know. It seems like they're just going to try and spin them off into, but the magic of Vanderpump Rules is gone. Because also Lisa, I just find her like, stop. I don't know. She's whatever. It's weird.
Yeah.
They're adults.
There's nothing else on
senior citizen. And like, you know, it's really hard to watch them interact the way they did 15 years ago.
Okay, listen, that's fair. Yeah,
I'm just saying I would
when they were like,
I would love for her to be like hanging out with them in a like grandma mode. You know what I mean? Like I would love to, but to watch these like 40-year-old people still, I don't know, whatever. What do I know? I don't know anything.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah. What else did you watch?
I watched the same. I watched Vanderpump, Snooze. I watched The Bachelor. Love it. Again, I keep trying to tell myself, like, Ramona, just, you know, you're going to get disappointed along the way if you keep up, like, thinking this is going to be, like, this amazing season. I'm done with the bridal gown dates are so stupid. Like, what the fuck? And none of us want it. None of the fans want it. Everyone on Reddit's like, why are we still watching a bride, a bridal gown, a wedding date? I think it's because they're so mentally abusive to the contestants. Like, we're bored, and they're getting like fucked over emotionally by production. It's just
Well, and Joey seemed uncomfortable too. Like nobody
Joey.
seemed to like be super into this anymore.
He's
They could stand
so
to, yeah.
Joey.
He's so
Joey.
sweet. What a dear.
Let's see. What else? Did not watch Potomac yet. I am so behind on Miami, which is actually kind of fun because I like to binge that. And then I watched like the best Lakers game in a long time on Saturday night, where they beat Golden State in double overtime. And it was like 2003 era Lakers. And I was a little hoarse after a while. Like, all three of us were screaming our heads off. It was
I only saw the highlights and I was like, oh my God.
It was
Like,
such a great game.
Yeah,
And I
it looked
think
amazing.
tonight they play the Celtics, or is it tomorrow night? And I can actually watch that game because it'll be on Hulu. So that's it. That's it for reality stuff. And you're right. I will always refer to sports now as reality TV.
Yeah, it
It's fucking
is.
reality TV.
Yeah.
There's drama over calls. The refs are vilified. You know, they're showing the fans in the stands, you know.
You care about the people
Yeah.
involved. Like, it matters who's on the team. It matters who left the team.
Right.
It matters who's in legal trouble on the team. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. I mean, the wags are in the gossip blogs constantly. So,
yeah.
Yep. And what was your antidepressant this week?
My antidepressant this week, you know, I think it was just like Friends again. You know, it's so funny watching this episode of Beverly Hills because, you know, last week I talked about my antidepressant was Friends because they picked me up off the ground from crying over Granny Potato, an internet dog. And I realized that like my mom is going through some health stuff and she's changing and she's not going to come back. You know, that's just the nature of aging. We're lucky to have her this long. And I think I projected onto Grandma Buttons, like all of the sadness of watching the deterioration of like a once vital creature, you know, follow its course to its natural end. And my friends just stayed. I called a friend one night. My car got smashed and grabbed. Like, it's Los Angeles. It happens every 10 to 15 years. It's not a big deal. But that's how the day started. And then my mom had a little bit of a issue that evening. And I just called my friend and I just said, I'm overwhelmed. And I started sobbing. And she just sat on the phone with me. That's it. She didn't try to fix it. She offered to come over, but that was it. She just said, like, this is so hard. This is really hard. And that's amazing. I'll tear up again. I don't want to cry anymore, but like,
dude,
isn't that
why?
beautiful?
Yes.
Normalize crying.
Normalize crying.
I'm crying because I'm like grateful I've had my mom for so long. I'm grateful I have friends to support me as she, you know, transitions however long this takes. And, you know, I'm in acceptance of grief, which is why I'm crying, you know? Anyways.
I do know.
How about you? What was your antidepressant?
Well, I mean, I did ketamine last night and it's always good, even though it ended with, you know, like, Mama, I'm gonna barf.
Barftacular. Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, it's my kid's birthday is tomorrow. And that is, I love to be able to celebrate him. And he is like, just last night, I was looking at him while he was resting next to me, like after he barfed. And like his voice sounded just a little bit deeper when he was talking and his face was just a little bit older. And like, I just love him so much. He's just like my little nugget. And he's going to be 8. Like 8. So, yeah, that's exciting. I'm excited to celebrate him tomorrow. And then I get to see you this weekend, which is
I know, I'm so excited.
And so that's going to be like a triple dose of antidepressant.
Yes, I can't wait.
Me too. But yeah, that's it. So yeah, if anybody is the show sold out? Do you know the?
Oh, I don't even know. I'm going to do a few shows at San Francisco Sketch Fest this weekend. 2 shows with the Groundlings called The Gas Show, all improv shows. One is at 7 and one is at 9:30, I think. And then on Sunday, I'm doing a show that involves improvisers and puppets, and that is for all ages. So it's called GLOP, Gorgeous Ladies of Puppetry, I
Oh, I
think is
love
what it
that.
stands
Oh my
for.
God, that's
And
amazing.
yeah, so
Glop.
if anyone's in San Francisco or in the Bay Area and
Yeah.
wants a laugh, come to San Francisco Sketch Fest.
Yeah, email or DM because I'm
Yeah.
gonna go to both shows
You're
on
so
Saturday night.
lovely.
Fuck yeah, dude. It's funny. I love it. Listen, I'm not doing you no favors. I get to see you. That makes me happy. I get to loll. That makes me happy. I loved watching you at the Groundlings whenever you got to perform with them when I lived in LA. Like, fuck yeah. I've flown down to LA to see you perform. Like,
I know, you're
I
the
will
best.
go. What is it? The whole, if the mountain won't come to Muhammad, then if Muhammad won't come to the mountain, then Muhammad. Do you know what I'm saying? The
No, I
mountain
don't
and
know the
Muhammad.
saying, but I want to
Dude,
know.
there's a saying that's like, if the mountain won't come to Muhammad, or if it's Muhammad won't come to the mountain, then the mountain will go to Muhammad. It's like, I don't know. It's like, I will come see you if you won't come see me, or something like that. It's just,
I love
yes.
it.
Margee, oh my God. Like, you're literally going to be 11 miles away. You're going to be
I'm so
11,
excited.
12 miles away.
I can't
I'm
wait.
going.
Yeah.
I'll load up. Maybe I'll listen to the Nick Viall podcast on
Oh
my
yeah,
drive
that'd be a
over if
great
there's
way
traffic,
to get across that bridge.
you know, and
Yeah.
I'll meet you before if I can, if you're still, you know, if you're available, whatever. Well, we don't need to make this plan.
Everybody,
Sorry, everybody.
thank you for listening to our logistics segment of our podcast.
Oh my God.
But
Oh my God.
we'll talk about it next week, I'm sure.
Yeah,
So
for
in the
sure.
meantime, everyone take good care of yourselves.
Really,
Normalize
take good
crying.
care of yourselves. Yes, normalize crying.
Yeah.
Look at your grief if you've got some in there.
When you're ready.
And,
Like
yeah,
you said,
you're
it'll
right.
come
When you're
find
ready.
you. The mountain will come find you.
You're
Don't worry.
You can reach us at atherapeuticdose@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram at A Therapeutic Dose. Oh, yes. Rate, review, subscribe, please. Thank you so much to the people that are dropping sweet reviews. We see you. We appreciate you. And they're so nice. They're such a treat to read. Like when we don't check the ratings for a while and then I do them all, oh, that's nice, you know? Yeah, rate, review, subscribe, pass it on. Take good care of yourselves this week. Drink a lot of water so that you don't have to go to a Spanish hospital like Crystal did. Okay?
Good advice. Sound advice.
Yep.
All right. Here comes the garbage truck.
On that note.
All right. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, everyone. Bye.
Bye.